There we go. I'm here. Hi guys. How are you? How are you doing? Uh, Obviously the live stream. Yesterday was a big success. Yesterday evening, I think at one point we had about 99 people on at one point, just one under 100. Maybe we'll get a bit more today, but wanted to do this live stream talking a little bit more about the stuff. Though obviously there's the whole Phillip Schofield controversy still going on. I don't think it's going to be going away yet. There's some stuff I want to talk when it comes to Dan Wootton, Eamonn Holmes, and I want to touch on Holly Willoughby as well. So right now, Dan Wootton has his program, Dan Wootton Tonight, and it's on 9 o'clock till 11 o'clock. And Dan Wootton on that show is going to be talking to Eamonn Holmes. And they're going to be a sit down interview. And I guess is this is going to be where Eamonn Holmes reveals it all, a tell all interview. So I don't know, and I don't know if will he be getting compensated for this, being that he already works for GBUs, or what? I don't know. There is a brief clip you could see, a 30-minute like trailer for it, and Phil was he was just saying, well, Phil wants to talk about toxicity. What's the word? Basically referred to like if there's a toxic culture. But then he was like saying, "Oh, it's not because of me. It's not because of Dan Wootton." Pointed to Dan, who was just right opposite him. He was saying that it's really Phil, that Phil brought that on. The toxic environment was because of Phillip Schofield on this morning. And no doubt Phil played he was probably one of the main people. Would he have been the worst when it came to that toxic atmosphere? I don't know if he was the worst, but he must have been up there when it came to one of the worst people. And a lot of people are just, a lot of people now are coming out. It's the Dr. Ranj that's come out and spoke about how it was a real toxic environment. Dr. Ranj seemed to be one of these guys that he never really is ever really critical of things, of people. So if he's saying that how bad it was and he felt that he was driven out, then there must be really something there to it. I've got a comment with David. Hi, David. And the only true question is, why didn't anyone go to the police with their concerns? Or are they jumping on the grooming story for their own benefit? Well, that's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, did people in the show, did they know, the people that were actually working there, did they have an idea? I mean, I think when you're in that world, David, it's like this thing of, the showbiz world, and people can overlook things because they're caught up in their own bubble and they're caught up in their own bullshit. So I think people can, overlook and gloss over certain things. But the thing with Phil, I mean, people must have thought something was there to it, right? Because there's the whole thing of like, wasn't like Matthew there, like at a red carpet event with Phil? He was like in between Phil and Holly. And then Holly's claiming that she had no idea about that, and she had asked him if something went on. And then again, it's a very vague statement, isn't it, that she put out on Instagram. And Eamonn Holmes might have had a point, because he was saying that probably Holly and Phil know what they're doing with putting these posts out on Insta stories, because on Insta stories, and I didn't know this because I'm not a big Instagram guy, they're only there for 24 hours, then they go away. And that's the whole thing why he's saying that they put them on there specifically on Instagram stories, because if anything different, the story changes and they're caught in a lie. And then they could just change their story and people have forgotten about that, and it's gone, it's deleted. But the thing is, people take screenshots of this shit. People are going to remember that. It's screenshotted all over Twitter, screenshotted all over social media. So people have seen that vague ass, post of Holly's. And then there's obviously Phil's post earlier, which is just total bullshit, right? I don't think many people have said what a pleasant working environment it was at this morning. But I don't know. I mean, if my guess is, were there people on that show that he was being groomed? That this was they knew the backstory, with Phil knowing the kid, going back to the when he was a real young kid at the drama group that Phil was a patron of. But I mean, none of these people really come out, right? No one straight up said that what it is. The people that work closely with them, or just staff behind the scenes of the show. You know, you've got people like, I mean, you've got Sonia Poulton, right? Sonia Poulton was a contributor, but she's not like, she would maybe be there once or twice a month, right? So she wasn't there the whole time behind the scenes and saw this Matthew kid. I don't think she ever talked about. She mentioned saying, "Oh, the kid that Phil's allegedly, we've got to be politically correct here, allegedly had the affair with, that she had met him." She never said that. But there is some things with Sonia that I found quite interesting in Sonia Poulton. Sonia Poulton was saying about the downfall. It's a video she has, Sonia Poulton, the downfall of this morning, and Sonia Poulton was basically saying that when it came to Holly and Phil, with Holly and Phil, basically that Holly knew she had the job because of Phil. She knew it. Phil damn sure knew he was the reason she got the gig, and I guess everybody there on this morning knew it, you know. And the thing was, and I kind of gave Holly a free pass initially. But then when I was watching Kim Woodburn, and Kim Woodburn, she's vicious, right? She really just tells it like it is and goes in on Holly, calling her a bitch. And I don't think, I don't know if people expect that. You know, sorry, the people in, GBUs are expecting her to go in like that. But when she says that, that Holly aided and abetted Phil, absolutely. Because when you think about it, when you think of like Phil, and it was, you could see it. You could see the kind of nastiness there, right? And even, Jim Davidson talks about getting stitched up. Before they go on and do the interview, it's all right. Good to see you, Jim. Good to see you, mate. And then as soon as the camera starts rolling, he just lays into him, attacking him, accusing him of being a homophobe or whatever. This stuff with Phil, I saw clips here and there this morning, but it was quite blatant. He could be quite an aggressive guy, right? But in a covert kind of way. But a lot of people, are saying that Phillip Schofield, straight up was a bully, Very few people said really good things about him, have they? And Holly really did play her part in protecting Phil and making Phil look good. She always had his back, right? And I think it was pretty much, it was made pretty clear, I think, with people that go on that show and then they have their little debates, have their disagreements, whatever. But when you went up against Phil, you went up against both of them. She had no opinion of her own, really. She never butted in and said, "Oh no, Phil, I think you've got this wrong here. No, I'm not sure I totally agree with that." She wasn't like that. It wasn't like with Susanna Reid countless times, all the time would disagree with Piers Morgan, right? So she's definitely aided and abetted him, right? She has, And Holly has played a part in, normalizing his behavior. And that's how I see it. Others might agree, others might disagree. I don't know, but she's played her part, and she well, is it going to come out? I mean, well, my whole thing is, I mean, a lot of people are the questions being asked. Is she going to survive? Right? Will she still be on this morning? That's hard to say. I mean, she's obviously a big commodity. She makes probably what, over a million a year. This morning will be a large chunk of her income, but she probably have multiple sources of income that she's ultimately going to be okay. But would it surprise me later on near the end of the week that we find that Holly has left this morning? I don't know. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Hi, Maureen. How you doing? Good to see you, Maureen. I think more and more people, just gradually, hopefully, more and more people will be joining the chat. But yeah, I've got no time for Holly though. I don't like Holly. Some people will stay kind of will defend her and say, "Man, maybe they took it." They're taking her on her word, and they think that she didn't know. But to me, she must have had an inkling. Holly must have had an idea. But I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know. I just uploaded a couple of you videos. There's the one I did, the media coverage on Phillip Schofield, and I've also done a shorts video. It was about Dan Wootton exposed. because I think that's important that he gets exposed. He really does. Are they live? Are they live right now? Are they? Yeah, it's funny with Matthew Steeples. I was looking him up, but from the videos that I watched, Maureen, yeah, they're pretty good. They're, I he seems to know his stuff. He seems to be connected, Matthew Steeples, with friends, sources. And yeah, I mean, he's a straight shooter, right? You know, you can tell he doesn't suffer fools gladly. Yeah, where's the gang at? Because they're on the Sean Atwood Steeples thing. That's fine, but I'll keep going on. But I did like Steeples though. A lot of people, yeah, he seems like a good guy. And I mean, there was a few. I've watched a few videos of Steeples. But I mean, I think Sean Atwood asked him, well, you know, has Phil got dirt in ITV? And he says, no, pretty much no, he's got nothing on them. And I imagine that's the case, you know, but LCG, if it was such an open secret for many years, why is everyone denying any knowledge of the going ons? Well, that's a good question, Elsie. It's just people are covering their arse, right? I mean, I would watch if you watch my media coverage on Phillip Schofield video I just uploaded, and I just try and show you kind of like, you know, you got two people there working for GBUs saying there is a super injunction, and one guy, Dan Wootton, saying that there isn't one. There never was one. He put that in capital letters. Never was a super injunction. So people there, they've there's a reason that that there's certain things that they're hiding. That they'll never disclose, you know. And the Sun, that you know, the paper that Dan used to work for. I mean, you know, they. I mean, you know, you don't just out of nowhere a day later come out on a Saturday and say, you know, confess, I'm gay. I've got a confession, I'm gay. That seems to be the thing. It always seems to be the Friday, Saturday, Sunday where this big showbiz gossip tabloid news gets leaked. That's when all the stuff started to come out about rumors about the affair of the runner. And then on the Friday evening, that's when it came out about it was all revealed. Phil confessed everything, that he had lied and misled his lawyers. So it always seems to be, it's been somewhat slow, the news cycle today, but it seems to be around Friday, Sunday, you'll get the big things of, you know, we maybe we'll find out, maybe a Friday, Sunday, maybe it'll get revealed at some point, the kid's name that you had an affair with. But yeah, Norma Morris. Hi, Norma. I agree with you. I can't stand Phil and Holly. There was always something wrong with them both, in my opinion. Yeah, I never took them, Norma. I mean, I'm not that I'm really, they're probably the target demographic for people who watch This Morning, but there was just something about them I never liked. It was like Holly, maybe at face value, seemed nice enough, but Phil, there was always something a bit just aggressive about him that was a bit off-putting, you know. And I said this before when I was a kid growing up. Like, I don't remember Philip Schofield from like TV shows, you know. I got fond memories of like watching Noel's House Party. You know, I watched Noel's House Party, and I watched Big Break, Jim Davidson, and then I watched I like to watch You Being Framed. But something about Schofield, he never stood out to me. Like, I never really remembered him. Yeah. Maureen, he lives in Broadstairs up the coast from me. Right. Yeah, yeah, that video, yes. So there's that was that link, Maureen. You can even put it in the chat. There was a link about Matthew now. He's working in a pub, right? They found him working in a pub. Because I messaged Maureen earlier and I said, that surprised me a bit. I thought maybe Matthew would have got a decent payday that he wouldn't have to resort to bar work. But I don't know. I mean, he must have probably got a payoff of some kind to go away. You know, does Matthew want to reveal his story? I don't know. I mean, it's probably going to come down to money, right? Someone told me that who was it in the chat yesterday told me it was about Katie Hopkins, that Katie Hopkins was saying that basically he's got 2 deals lined up, right? 2 deals lined up. He's basically either got The Sun or the Daily Mail that he'll sell his story to. So, and it's really going to come down ultimately to who the highest bidder is, right? I mean, if the allegations are true about the blackmailing with the Sun, my guess is they won't want to get involved anymore in that stuff with Phil because they don't want it to bite them on the ass in the end. Katie Hopkins is a fed. You don't trust her, Astro, right? You don't trust her. Oh, you're sorry, Matthew Steeples, Maureen. Right, right. So you probably could meet up with him personally, get talking to him, right? Because he's a guy. Maybe down the line, let's keep growing this channel. I'd bring him on the channel. He'd be a good guy to talk to. But what do you think, Astro? Is Katie Hopkins, is she controlled opposition? Could she not be trusted? But she's someone that's very much was in that media world, right? She was always like columns that she wrote. Was it for the Daily Mail? She wrote for the Sun at one point. And then out of nowhere, she just got totally blacklisted, you know? She was put through uni by the Royal Engineer Corps on a scholarship, right? To take it with that, you got to be kind of well connected, right? Come from the right family. I guess you got connections. Yeah, I mean, I remember her on Apprentice, but I can remember her kind of like couldn't really stand her. Like, do you remember on The Apprentice that after show thing they used to do Adrian Charles when she had that little spat with Michelle Mon? It was kind of funny at the time though that like Katie Hopkins was seen as the baddie and Michelle Mon's a good person, right? But then there's all that controversy with Michelle Mon, right? There's all that stuff about her with the PPE contracts, right? And trying to demand and aggressively force that she was going to get those contracts and get a shed load of money for them. It's kind of funny now how the roles reverse, right? Magnet Pub, buy him a gin or two. Is that his drink? Is it? Is that his preferred gin? Yeah. I'll watch more of him. I'll definitely I take it that's his main thing, is it? Like he goes on Sean Atwood's show and then he's got his website, the Steeple Times. But I'll definitely check out him more. Gin Tippler. Groomed for this moment in time to push the narrative. Are you talking about Katie Hopkins, Astral? I suppose let's face it. I mean, if there's anyone that played a part in pushing the narrative, I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, Katie has her sources, or Katie with this whole thing about two deals is just Katie making an educated guess and speculating what could go down because of her experience dealing with the tabloids. But I mean, this is the thing now, though. You got obviously Dan Wootton is going to be doing that tell-all with Eamonn Holmes. It'll be going on right now. I don't know if it started, but I mean, obviously Dan, if it's true what by and large investigations are saying, he must know something, right? He must know something and played a part. It was maybe more on Newton than it was Dan, because Victoria Newton was Dan's boss, but they, I guess, blackmailed Schofield into doing the tell-all coming out for their paper. And the agreement was that he would do it a day before on this morning, and then doing it on a Friday out of nowhere. That's something I don't know if it raised. I said it in my other video, raised alarm bells with people at the time because people might have thought out of nowhere on a Friday. Like maybe on a Monday, I'd get it. You've had time to think about it over the weekend, but a Friday? So it seems a little weird, yeah. I felt like, nae bad, Cara, nae bad. I'm doing well, thanks. Matthew got a legal letter today about his newspaper. He's not worried. Right, so he'll just say whatever, right? Boys. That's a good one, Danny Alpha. Chavanoa. I've got a much more refined accent, Cara, when I'm doing this, doing these live streams and my videos. I can turn the Scottish up, though, Cara. I can turn the Scottish up. Yeah, Matthew. I mean, he obviously doesn't give an F, does he, Maureen, when it comes to what he says? sometimes you have to watch, obviously, with YouTube, with guidelines and that. And Sean, I noticed on one video they were going to touch and talk about somebody, but then they had to watch because apparently, like Sean Atwood's had his video, his channel removed twice already. He's had 2 channels removed before. You got to really watch what you say. But that actually leads me to some news. I got an update with the channel. It was actually today I officially got monetized. Officially got monetized on YouTube. And funny enough, when it came to videos that I selected, because I had a feeling if I just selected all, that probably not all of them are going to get monetized based on stuff that I'm going to talk about. Pretty much all the Phillip Schofield stuff got monetized. There was a couple of exceptions, right? There was the video about the altercation. Thanks, Maureen. It wasn't the one with the altercation with Lady Colin Campbell. Didn't get accepted. The one that I said about Dan Wootton, is Dan Wootton telling the truth? That didn't get accepted. And I altered the headline of it and the description to see if it would get accepted, but it didn't. So that's another interesting thing. All the other videos with Simon, the stuff with Holly, that got all accepted. But the one with Dan Wootton didn't. The one with Lady Colin Campbell, right? Lady, that didn't get accepted. And then my Madonna video didn't get accepted either. And I tried to change, I changed the headline of it, and that didn't get accepted either. So that's interesting, right? But in fairness, a lot of them got accepted though, so that's not too bad. Everyone's getting censored. Yeah, that's the thing, is it? You've really got to watch what you say when it comes to guidelines. And people just, I mean, there's no harm in people wanting to make a bit of money, even try and make a living off of YouTube, right? But you really have to be careful, right, when it comes to guidelines and all that. Astral Chimp, just like Rolf, etc. Are you meaning Rolf? Are you referring to Rolf Harris, Astral? Yeah, with Rolf Harris, there was a lot of stories, wasn't there, about Rolf Harris groping, and was it Ulrika Johnson had a story about that? You know, she hadn't mentioned it before, right? But Ulrika Johnson's she's always gossiping and commenting on something, is it? She's always caught up in that gossip, commenting on celebrities. But she said that Rolf Harris groped her. Thanks, Cara. Thanks. Yeah, but I think I said Astral last night. Maybe you were on the stream at the time. Maybe you weren't. I thought it was a little bit weird. I mean, I never saw it coming with Rolf Harris. I could have pointed at Jimmy Savile and thought he was a bit of a weirdo, but I didn't see it with Rolf Harris. But that's me being a young kid who liked to watch, what was it, Pet Rescue, Animal Hospital, or whatever. But yeah, Jill Dando, that's a rabbit hole you could go down, right, Astral, with that. Yeah, no doubt. And maybe one day I'll go down that rabbit hole. We'll all go down it together. But yeah, there's a few things on that, isn't there, that she was going to expose a lot of things, probably a lot of people. But then in the end, what happened. So you can set up your Nightbot to exclude certain words. I have to look into doing that with the algorithm, yeah, Maureen. I will look into that. I'll start that. Cliff Richard, Cara. Yeah, Cliff Richard. I've come across stuff about Cliff Richard, Cara. Yeah, that's the one, isn't it? The code names, right? Isn't that even something to do like Tom Jones is involved in that as well? I heard Tom Jones being mentioned in that. And that's going like back to stuff that happened in the 70s. Is that true? That's stuff I've heard. That's theories. And I mean, he had that stuff, Mr. Richard, didn't he, about Cal? Yeah, he's good with that. Yeah, but Mr. Richard had that stuff, didn't he? It was the whole allegations, and then then he ended up suing the BBC. Then apparently people came out and said that they lied about it. But I mean, who knows what exactly happened there? I'm nail enough to get. Well, never am I, Cara. I was born in 1990, but I have an interest in these things with the theories, conspiracy theories, going down rabbit holes. I mean, I started, I guess, to wake up. I was about maybe 2021, and I started to come across stuff with David Icke, and then even there was that guy, the old wrestler Jesse Ventura, had a show, Conspiracy Theories. I watched that. And then there was the stuff with Alex Jones and Infowars. So they played a part in waking me up. Where's your monetary sign? Yeah, I'll get it sorted. Yeah, I wasn't going to take the risk with this one, Maureen, because you never know how strict they can be. You know what I mean? And didn't Callie have a problem with getting a strike when one of his live streams? So you do have to be careful. Love Jesse Ventura. Yeah, he's really a straight shooter, right? Yeah, thanks, Maureen. Yeah, because he had the series where he did debunk some conspiracy theories as well, right? And then David Icke was on it, and he actually confronted David Icke. That's the good thing, though. I think that is important, though. You do debunk some conspiracy theories. It is important to debunk some because when you get caught up in looking in conspiracy theories, it's very easily to, like, as soon as you start watching David Icke and Alex Jones, you start to think at that point everything's a conspiracy, you know? And you go that deep rabbit hole, and it's like you claim you'll tell people you're a free thinker, but then you're really just spouting everything you've heard Alex Jones or David Icke say. And that's the thing. I think it comes a point, and I remember someone saying this, that when they started, they had similar thing. They got into watching David Icke, Alex Jones. That's what woke them up. But then you gotta graduate from that. You know what I mean? You gotta then do your own research and then really think for yourself, right? Perspective is key. Yeah, 100%. 100% perspective is key. And it's important thing is having different perspectives and listening to different people and hearing about them and their life story. Because that's the thing. I never. Yeah, you speak it. Yeah, absolutely. Because I always have that thing of I don't really want people to agree with me. Like, I like the disagreement. I like to talk. I like hearing people different perspectives on things. And sometimes people will see somebody and then they've got an opinion on something, and it can happen with people on the right wing. And then it's just like, as soon as that person has a different opinion on something, people think, oh, that he's a shell, that person's a shell, they're controlled opposition. But no, you really just got to think for yourself, come to your own conclusions, and we should be able to agree to disagree. I'm just looking actually here on the Daily Mail. It's the main thing. It says Phillip Schofield again. Former This Morning host prepares to tell the real story about disgraced star as he for all my workmates who were frightened and ignored. Oh, he's really the voice of the voiceless, is he, Mr. Holmes? I'm not sure. I have my doubts about Eamonn, but I hope he's one of the good guys. I hope he means Dan Wootton. Not to say that Eamonn isn't a bad one, but just have to, I guess, to wait to see about that. Astral. It's funny how Esther Ranston knew all about Savile, but made a program about protecting kids. Wow, yeah. And was that, when did she do that program, that woman? When did she do that? Maybe I have to see an episode of that, see if it's online. Cara, Eamonn is 50-50 for me. Just, yeah, that's the thing. You want to think he comes off like that down-to-earth guy, Eamonn. It's the Northern Irish accent. Like, I've got Irish and just Australian, maybe. Like, I love the Irish, but I'm just not sure, though, Eamonn Holmes, like, and again, there's this whole story that they got sacked because they were the ones to complain to the higher ups in the show, but I don't know about that, because wasn't Ruth still on the show until last year, and then he quit, or I don't know, he quit or he was let go in 2021, and then he went to work on This Morning. So I don't know if everyone's got their facts right on that whole thing, but maybe he was really the one to complain, or they both complained, but then he just decided to take the bullet for life, and then he left. I don't know, but Maureen's a bit of Irish stock. Yeah, we've got Irish in us. The good guys. I love the Irish. Beastie Lucifin used to be loads of really great truther channels, but most got called and had to go to BitChute. Yeah, that's true, Beastie. I like there's Mark Devlin. He's one. He's probably one of the better ones, to be fair. He's a little bit like David Icke, but I think he's better because he goes into more detail. Because David Icke, like, I feel that David Icke's certain kind of like script that he has, and he doesn't always deviate away from it. It's the whole thing about they manipulate reality. They're all psychopaths. Manipulate reality again. Like he always has that certain things that he says, and he never does really. It's the same old thing with David Icke. But then this guy Mark Devlin, he really gets into the true nature of the music industry when it comes to like how controlled that is, when it comes to things with mind control and handlers. He's done a lot of excellent research. He's definitely somebody you'll find him on BitChute Beastie. Mark Devlin. I recommend Mark Devlin. So Esther, years ago, year 1986 start of Childline. Right, right. Margaret, it was Childline to help victims. Yeah, that's maybe what it was, wasn't it? It was just like to 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 it was like a thing to like take the focus off of high profile people and then put it onto, I guess, what, normal cases, or that might have been part of the reason why they had that show. There's always these motives behind why they do these things, right? They had a real cleanup before the internet was a real thing. Yeah, I bet. I bet there's a lot of stuff they've hid away, right? There's no way they could get away with this shit today, right? No way. Titus Frost. Fraser Young, Esther Ranson have something to do with PIE. Is that to do something to do with the what I think it is, right? Right. Interesting. Yeah, but a lot of these people at the end of the day, someone should have stood the fuck up to Savile. Someone should have had a set of balls, but nobody did, right? What, the closest was Johnny Rotten, She You. Yeah, yeah, She You Astral, yeah, because it came out in the documentary and she even really admitted that she did know. She certainly had an idea, but it was just she chose to overlook it. You get these silly kind of like photo ops with him and her, and what is it? She was like he had like some medal on, and then she was like she was biting it, and then you had Savile and photo ops with Mrs. Margaret Thatcher, and yeah, I mean, God, he was the devil, wasn't he? He was the devil, right? And he tried to claim he was a devout Catholic. Like, what a load of shit, spit in the face to true devout Catholics. My grandparents are devout Catholics. My mom's a devout Catholic. He was no Catholic. But yes, there's not like a Netflix show, isn't there, with Savile that's on right now? Is that already up on Netflix? Because I mean, there's that whole interview that he did with Andrew Neil, right? And Andrew Neil, God, he's another funny one, sketchy character. And then he had that what was it? The whole thing about, oh, women know too much. He was revealing it all to us, right? Women know too much. It's you want to be with a woman that doesn't know a lot. That they're a different class. Talking about how he tells lies when it suits him. Like he was a real piece of shit, wasn't he? Beastie, Savile and King Charles III were besties. Yeah, that's the thing, Beastie, because that's the thing, right? I mean, they hang they hang Prince Andrew, but then Charles gets a free pass. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I would say probably Charles you a lot more about Savile. I mean, didn't Savile have that letter to him about saying about how Jimmy, and how he knows Jimmy likes young girls? It was something along those lines, right? And yeah, the whole Prince Andrew thing. I mean, God, I don't know if you guys have seen that lady. What's her name again? Victoria Hervey. She tried to come out in GBUs and said that photo of Prince Andrew and the girl is a fake. Virginia something or other. I don't know how true that is, but she was really trying to discredit Virginia. But I don't know if that was just something that they needed to roll that woman out as someone to try and defend Prince Andrew and try and salvage whatever. You say salvage his reputation is all being destroyed, but they were trying their best to try and defend Prince Andrew and claim that the picture with him and Virginia was a fake. Maureen, Sean Savile book is coming out end year. Oh, Sean Atwood's got a book in Savile. Well, that'll be interesting. I Cara. You was it? No, it was a Pizza Express, Cara. Get it right. Yeah, yeah. I think you told that story, Astral, about hiding in the stockroom yesterday, right? Yeah, I've seen Bestie. I've seen that interview with Louis Theroux and Savile, right? And he was making the comment about how he purposely says that he hates kids. He made it a point to always say that in interviews that he hates kids, right? Yeah, yeah. That was proper wrong, and yeah, 100% right, 100%. Uh, so I wonder, has this been? I wonder if this interview with Eamonn Holmes is now up, showed a trailer. But I mean, I've come to my conclusion on this, and you can see my other video that I've done that Dan Wootton definitely knows something, is hiding something. It looks like that his boss might have, if according to Byline Investigation, signed a non-disclosure agreement on this. That was the agreement. Um, that probably works out better for them in the long when you think about it, though. Because now it's all been revealed about the affair that Schofield has. If she has a non-disclosure agreement that she can't talk about it, there's no one else that's like there take the heat, right? It's all going to be on Phillip Schofield, right? And I just wonder those things when they came to agreements that you know that she had signed it. Was it maybe one of those things where all along they knew what they were doing and they thought they were being forced into an NDA, but actually they wanted it because then it would benefit them, and they can't say anything. They've signed an NDA. I don't know. That's one conspiracy theory on it, but yeah, that Sir Jimmy Savile guy, Saltness Monster, he comments on my stuff. He's commented on a couple of my videos. I'll have to check him out. The Sir Jimmy Savile OBE channel. Yeah, I'll check that out. Daddy Alpha, the time the swamp was drained. Are we talking about this morning swamp? Or are we talking about the swamp, the American politics? I suppose if both could be drained, that would be pretty good, right? Margaret, Andrew has close police protection with him at all times, keeping records, preferred to pay 12 million to a woman he had never met rather than prove his innocence. Yeah. That's that it kind of exposes it in the end, right? And I wasn't sure about initially when I watched the Lady Victoria Harvey videos, and feel free, you'll find it Lady Victoria Harvey GBUs. She did sound somewhat credible, but then later on you see her on Talk TV and she's getting real angry and quite getting an argument with this other woman. And this other woman wasn't great either, kind of this hysterical woke lefty. Then all of a sudden Victoria Harvey is kind of like losing her temper and she actually curses, right? She says the F word. And she's still, which I don't know if that was past the watershed at the time or not, but she didn't come off looking the best though. Not on that one anyway. But Queen Mummy paid the 12 million. Yeah, exactly. She paid the 12 million. Source code, that's a good question. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think this is stuff like he knew about it for a while? I mean, there was the whole thing where apparently it came out in court that Phil did. Timothy had told Phil about something in 2021, but Phil, I guess, in a statement on his, what was it, his Snapchat, because he loves to Snapchat, right? Tried to deny that was the case, or and that's the thing, right? I mean, if you see my video with the Phillip Schofield Snapchat, and if you do some more digging on that, it came out that no, sorry, on Twitter, if you just Twitter search Phillip Schofield Snapchat, and there's a few people on there, you'll see at the very top, like near the top results, and they said that it was very weird. Phillip Schofield messaged me and other people in our secondary school. And at first, when I saw that, I thought, well, maybe they were legal age, right? Maybe they were legal age. Not obviously that makes it right. It's still very, very weird and creepy, right? But then all of a sudden, people are saying that if Phillip Schofield followed them on Snapchat when they were 14 in secondary school, right? It's like, gee, come on, It's like, Shazzy, there's a lot more deeper. Go back to Phil's early days and his best pal Simon. Looks like there was quite the cult and he was in the BBC gang. Yeah. Yeah, maybe there was a gang there with the BBC, Shazzy. Yeah, you should check out my video. I talked about this Philip and Simon Schofield controversy. I went through that on Phil Saville. Well, that seems to be Kai. That's the narrative they're running with, right? I mean, this is I noticed that in an interview that Nigel Farage and Dan Wootton did, right? That this is the biggest cover up since Savile, right? Or that's what Dan Wootton says that a big ITV star told him, right? But a cover up that you played your part in, Dan, though, Maureen Simon's only 38, yeah. And then there was that weird photo, wasn't there, when they were the Doctor Doolittle play and backstage and Luke 12 and drugged for some reason. There was that photo. All that. I mean, it's just what who would find that funny, right? Someone saying a comment about I look 12 and I look drugged, but then about 124 people liked it on his Facebook page. Some real sick people, right, out there. And they made it obvious in the end. I mean, it's all out there, messages and photographs. It's they snitched themselves and they snitched on themselves in the end, right? You know. So what's going on? I'm seeing here GBUs of anything if it's come out. I'm talking about the interview with Phillip Schofield. No, sorry, not Phillip Schofield. About Phillip Schofield, but Eamonn Holmes and Dan Wootton. Kim Woodburn, Holly Woodburn is an impy, wimpy little woman. To be honest, I don't disagree there. Kevin Ligo, this is 20 minutes ago. Kevin Ligo was grilled. His GBU's grilled him on the Phillip Schofield scandal, and he just says, "I really have no more to say." Kevin Ligo, if you Google him, he's a funny one. He just comes off that kind of corporate, kind of snaky, kind of only care about the money type of person. Shitty. Collie Willoughby should be sacked. Yeah, 100%. She should be sacked. She used something. She had an idea. She's not revealing the truth. It is that thing of, I think someone talked about it, was making a comment about it in one of my videos earlier. Plausible deniability, right? Plausible deniability. Yeah, she used something, Shazzy. But this is now Kevin Ligo. Well, the high up bosses, they need to be put out there, their names and faces, right? Because if they were in on this and they covered this up, they made a point to cover this up. They were complicit. Oh, what's Dan Wootton going on about? I don't know. Right. So I don't think the interview's up yet with Eamonn Holmes, but we'll keep an eye on it. I want to believe Eamonn's one of the good guys, but I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. Do you think Eamonn was in on it? He had an idea? Or do you genuinely believe that Eamonn was very shocked and that, Phil lied to him and Ruth? Tell me what you guys think. I'm interested to see what Eamonn Holmes has to say on all this. But right now, because even GBUs they've got a poll. Should this morning be axed? Yes, of course. 73% people said yes. Yeah, absolutely, it should be axed. Yeah, maybe he didn't, Maureen. I want to believe Eamon. Kai, I think the salary is a sin in itself. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you could be a manager of something or other in 40, 50K a year, but these guys presenting a silly ass TV show are making 700, 800 grand a year. It's madness. Absolutely. Philip is 51, but he is the boy. Ugh. No comment. I think Eamon used something but didn't want to believe it of his good buddy. Yeah, he had an idea, maybe. Yeah. I mean, one thing I'd say about Eamon, I mean, if they were like stand-in presenters, Eamon and Ruth, they wouldn't have been around Phil and Holly all the time, right? But then there's obviously the other people, the guests, the contributors. There's always the people, the backroom staff. They are people that probably had an idea, and maybe they spoke to people there about, oh, should I say something? Should I not? But then maybe certain people just told him, look, for the sake of your job here, the sake of your future, just shut up. So maybe there was a bit of that, wouldn't surprise me. It will be axed. Yeah, but I'm sure Alison Hammond, Dermot O'Leary, Shell Humes, they'll all survive. They'll all be still making shed loads of money, right? But it wouldn't surprise me if it does get axed. Maybe, hell, within 7-10 days, it might get axed. They might pull the plug on it. You never know. Eamonn Holmes wasn't complicit. He's always been a stand-up guy, Shazzy. Yeah, I want to believe that. Roof complaining got them sacked. Maybe, but then people say that Roof complained though when he cut them off. Philip cut Roof off on on Loose Women when she was doing this like real thing, 10-second thing, and then he just cut her right off. And funnily enough, it was to do with grooming. It was this woman. It was I can't remember her name. It was a teacher, and then she ended up getting with a guy, Jacob, that was like 15, and that was his dad. She was seeing his dad initially, just so lowbrow and just appealing to the lowest common denominator. But of course, they probably want to put a little kind of like woman empowerment spin on it, or like, what am I trying to say? That they made it out like the guy pursued her first and she wasn't interested, to kind of like make it seem like she wasn't all that bad, But that's how they do these things, Maureen, they all you but it never went anywhere, and whoever did got the chop. So yeah, could be that. It could be that's why they let them go. Nothing would stop me speaking out, job threat or not. Yeah, I'm the same, Cara. I think I'm the same. You're the same. Maureen would be the same. Divided Kingdom, Cali PV here would be the same. We wouldn't give a shit. We would speak out. We wouldn't let anybody bully us into silence. Absolutely. He was horrible behind the scenes. Yeah, that's what most people say. He was horrible behind the scenes. Shazzy. There was even a weird clip I saw of like when someone stood in for him. He was away for a while in 2016, and he made the comment, like joking to the person that was just standing in for him for a while. Oh, I'll kill you. He said that. Maybe some joke that was like going on about, oh, I'm going to be taken soon or something. And it's like, and Philip makes this comment about saying, I'll kill you. And it was like, he had like a dead serious kind of like psychotic look in his face as well. Like he is an unpleasant guy and a bully, and it's I don't feel sorry really for him for what he's going through right now. I'm not. You don't go to management complaining about nonce or if you're a nonce. Okay. Advertisers start pulling out, Margaret. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Arnold Clark now is pulling out, or they're not going to renew the contract. The contract runs out at the end of the year. I think that's what it is, right? Daddy Alpha, the young runner, was transported from Schofield's house to work via Good Morning Transport early mornings. I've heard that story, right? People are saying that. So people are really in on the know. There's no way that Martin Fizel and Kevin Ligo and Carol and whoever else, all the big wigs, they didn't know. This morning is dragging in too much cash for ITV to axe it. But maybe at one point, those source code, the money will start. The money will dry up, Kai. Yeah, but there was one guy. It was a Peter Lloyd. If I find them, Peter Lloyd, a journalist. Peter Lloyd was on this morning earlier, but he's been a guy that's been kind of like exposing this stuff to do with the workplace culture. And there's a photo. There's like a photo of Alison Hammond and all these guys, and they've got nothing on, and they're behind, and they've just got an apron on. And then he's got this tweet: grotesque sexist behavior has no place in daytime TV in 2023. It encourages and normalizes the exploitation of young men like Matt McGreevy. It's like Alison Hammond, and she looks like she's in drag, Alison Hammond. Like, I'm not a fan of Alison Hammond at all. And there's some other stuff with Peter Lloyd. It was about Matt McGreevy being leered on. It was like Anthea Turner was in the studio, and she was like putting like oil all over him. And Ruth Langsford there, she's smiling away. So some of this stuff, and then even there was that thing with Gino at one point was cooking naked. How the hell was that allowed on TV at 10 o'clock in the morning? Like, what the hell was going on there? Yeah, Maureen. Yeah, yeah, they'll be losing a shitload of money, right? Cara, remember when This Morning was doing phone-in quizzes and it was a scam, collecting loads of money and pretending to give it away fit for anything? Yeah, I mean, there's been some real controversial shit with that story, right? And that doesn't surprise me. I haven't heard about that before, but it doesn't surprise me. Like, wasn't even something about like somebody that they were on that protested his innocence about something, and the social services took his kid away, and then later on he got him back, and then he killed his kid. Is that there was real something disturbing? I was reading that about, but it was something that Sonia Polton talked about the downfall This Morning. It was 2012 time, but yeah, that show it's it might have been all right in the 90s, early 2000s, but it's been the shits for years now, isn't it? Maureen, Alison is awful to watch. One thing is that she can't hide her feelings at the moment for the clips I saw today. Yeah, I can't stand her. It's just so forced, that persona, but it served her well, you know. I mean, who would have thought somebody that was only on Big Brother for 2 weeks would have the big career she's got now? And she's bloody, she's everywhere. You can't escape her on ITV, on BBC. It's just like, gee, Sarah B, let's look at how their shares fare tomorrow. Nah, they'll be losing more money, Sarah. That's for sure. They're going to be losing more money. It's not good at all. Acton, thanks for joining. Acton, never watched a single episode of that drivel, but love gossip. It's unifying and bring people together. Well, a lot of people have got on this Phillip Schofield thing, and yeah, I've started talking a lot about it. I was inspired. It was a guy, Callie P, on his video about Phillip Schofield being a groomer, open secret in the industry, and I did my digging. I did my video, and then just took it from there. Astro Chimp, funny UN. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because Callie P did a video about that. That's maybe something I got to do a separate video on Astral and talk about that. There really is a war going on right now. It's a spiritual war, It's not just a cultural war, but it is a spiritual war. Yeah, that's the thing, Cara, right? Because some people say that, well, like when Piers Morgan left Good Morning Britain, that there wasn't that a lot of people there that kicked him, I guess, while he was down. But Phil's the only one that everyone's had the, everyone's had the knives out on. But then Piers Morgan is a guy that I really can't stand, though, and I don't have time for. And he can whine and moan about Meghan and go on about Meghan and Harry, and he might have some points there about that. But I mean, at the end of the day, he walked away from what, a 700,000, 800,000 pound a year gig because he had an obsession with Meghan Markle. In the end, he's the idiot. The joke's on him. He should have just learned to pick battles and just kept a bit quiet on it, but he couldn't do that. But I'm sure he's making decent money at Talk TV and does all the other stuff he does. So Piers, he is okay. Proper use programs, less of the fluff. Yeah, there needs to be. There needs to be, but the mainstream media will always. You might have Panorama that do try and cover some things, but then there's certain things they're always going to ignore, right? You do need some better quality programs on. Joanne, so much more to come out about a lot of things. Yeah, Joanne. I mean, my whole thing is I was talking about the media coverage, Joanne. I've got a video about the media coverage of Phillip Schofield. And it's really the thing that I can't stand is the whole hypocrisy with Dan Wootton. And I know he doesn't care if he's a hypocrite or not, but the whole thing about saying I was the one, I went to ITV, I had a complaint about this. They didn't investigate it, that's why I left. But then he was happy enough to praise Phillip Schofield for coming out on his talk radio show a day after he came out on This Morning. And Dan knew what he was doing. It was his part in controlling the narrative. And this is the thing. This is why he has to be exposed. This is why I'll never get. He's got zero credibility with me now, Dan Wootton. and we all should have known. And there's some people in the chat here that think Dan Wootton's an all right guy, but Dan's really been exposed now. Dan is a fraud. And it's a bit odd that of all my videos, and a lot of plenty videos got fine, they were accepted, monetized. The Dan Wootton one didn't. You know, like he is a high up guy in the showbiz world. Like he really is high up. And because Dan Wootton even said, quote, "I'm like, more fool you if you don't want to brief me. Then you don't have an opportunity to try and get the story shaped in a way that works for you." Well, Phil obviously got the story shaped in a way that worked for him, while coming out publicly on This Morning, and then a day after having the story in The Sun. So the story worked for him. And Dan played his part in getting stories shaped in a way. He helped play his part in controlling the narrative. So Dan Wootton, that's him exposed. Down. Yeah, he is down, Maureen. He's down. Cara, I can't stand Piers either. I liked when he held the government to account, but otherwise seems very pompous. Yeah, I mean, he has his moments where he says some things that are like, all right, okay, yeah, I kind of agree with you there. He speaks out. He's outspoken about woke cancel culture. So there's some good points he makes, but for the most part, I've got no time for him at all. I think it would be rather depressing following that guy on social media, right? Following that guy on social media, and you work out, you get up in the morning, you want to tackle the day, and then you come across social media, and then it's, it's buddy Piers Morgan or it's Ben Shapiro, and they're just ranting about the world and picking on some celebrity and complaining about something. He's somebody I don't follow and don't trust. There's so many webs connecting so many people we're meant to trust. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Cara. Phil's getting totally exposed, and that's Phil's career is over. Phil's career over. But will the high up bosses, will they step down? If we find out that Kevin Ligo and Martin Frizzell knew all about this, and whoever else, Carolyn McCall, there's like 4 names. If they knew all about this, will they all step down? I guess if it gets fully exposed that they did, they'll have no other choice. But then the thing is, are these guys on the Mail going to get exposed? Will Victoria Wootton and The Sun, the editor of The Sun, get exposed? I don't know. Chances are probably not, right? Fake Holly. Well, I hope to God Fake Holly gets exposed, Tara. Yeah, I'd like to see Fake Holly get exposed. But I can't see it. I think Holly will eventually just move on and do something else and be a presenter on some other silly ass TV show, right? But she did Celebrity Juice for years and years, right? And that was just silly ass trash TV. And she was doing Dancing on Ice for a long time, right? And so Holly will be okay. Morgan is privileged and knows all of Camilla's family. Scoff, scoff. Yes, he's got that connection. And it's all the other stuff with Piers Morgan, isn't it? The photos there with Rolf Harris, Gary Glitter, Ghislaine Maxwell. I know, was there a photo of him with Jimmy Savile? It wouldn't surprise me. But he was all these photos of all these scumbags, right? And yeah, say that. Even if they step down, they will be handsomely rewarded. They all fed from the same mucky draw. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Margaret, what does Phil have in the high up bosses? I don't know if he has anything on them, to be honest with you, because I think, if Phil knows he's going down, my guess he would take others down with him, which that's what's to come. But I don't know if he does have anything on them. I think Matthew Steeples, he seemed to believe that Phil's screwed and he doesn't have anything on them. Joanne, do you think Holly knew the truth? She must have had an idea, I think, that something was going on, but not that it was something maybe open, that they openly discussed. But she must have, I believe, had an inkling and maybe just chose to not believe what was happening. That's my take on it. I mean, the whole thing was that, when the coming out, right, and Holly had that statement, right, written statement. She was speaking on behalf of Phil. But then I think Holly did say, didn't she, that Holly said that I've known about this for some time now. And that's the thing. I'm not. What is it with the timelines? At some point, obviously, Phil split up with his wife, right? He had his apartment, was a swanky £2 million apartment, and that's where he invited all the boys round. And that message got revealed. That was a message from a post from back in 2019, right? July 2019. So, at what point then would Holly have known about Phil that he was actually gay? That's a question, right? So none of us know for sure, but when will that get revealed? I don't know. Maybe sometime down the line. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Savile was everywhere back in the day. He was Jim will Fix It, all those other big shows. He made it a point to be pally with all the top high influential people that played a part in protecting him and making, having that good image. There, but Holly's hubby is a producer at ITV. Well, that's the thing. I mean, if she's well with her husband producer, I know that it's not that he's a producer on This Morning, but she'll be fine then. She can just go and work on a show that her husband's a producer on. So Holly's set, right? She'll be fine. Joanne, what the eye doesn't see, eh? Exactly. There's a rumor Holly's husband is possibly involved. He's an executive producer at ITV. I haven't heard that, Lindsay, but I'll look into that. Vegan vlogger. If Phil is manipulative, she may have believed what he told her. Even if she doubted it, I'm talking for someone who lived through abuse. Abuser was manipulative. Yeah. I mean, there may have been a fair bit of manipulation that went on. People say a lot that Phil talked over Holly a lot of the time in the show. I never really watched any of the show myself. The odd clip here and there, so I can't really comment. I mean, if Phil's saying that he lied to everybody and he's lied to a lot of people, or there's other people that basically were in on the know, but we're not allowed to find out, to know that. But Phil, would you? I don't know. I mean, my take on it, vegan vlogger, is that she didn't ask any questions. She just kind of turned a blind eye to it. That's how I see it. Shazzy won and he's sacked from his own company. Yeah, that's the thing, Shazzy, right? He's sacked from a company that he's got in, right? So, but he better cash out those shares, eh? Joanne, I think she'll all you about it and it'll all come out. This is just the start. I'd like to think, if that's the case, that it'll all come out and she'll be exposed. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that seems to be the thing that this PR expert's saying, that, a PR expert was on GBUs before and he was saying that there's a good chance that she might have to just step down. But I don't know. I mean, I feel that she'll come out of this scot-free, a good chunk of her reputation intact, I guess. Like, I think she'll be fine. She's going to survive this. I don't really want her to, but she probably will. If this had been a young girl with a 60-year-old man, there would have been hell to pay. Exactly, Daddy Alpha. Yes. Where was the duty of care about these people? Yeah, I know. And the thing is, for years, people turned a blind eye with Schofield, right? There was a thing in 2016, someone tweeted that this young guy, that Philip had been sending messages to him on Snapchat. And then Phil even admitted, he said in an interview in 2019 that, because of the perpetually outraged brigade is why he joined Snapchat. But I think he'd have been on Snapchat for a while, and that's just his excuse. But he was already revealing what he does, right? He's going on Snapchat, right? And 20% of people on Snapchat or 20% are 13 to 17 years old. So a lot of young teens on this app. I've never used Snapchat. It's a silly ass app to me. I don't do it, but just odd that a 50-odd-year-old man would want to message people on Snapchat and follow random kids. It's weird, is it? Mama Bear, if people knew what goes on, not just with the TV, film, and music industry, but with the government and royalty, they'd be shocked. Oh yeah, there's so much we don't know, Mama Bear. I mean, the people, all of us who are red pilled and outside the matrix, we know what's up. But the people who just believe what BBC, ITV, and Sky tell them, it would be totally beyond their comprehension, right? Phil was great on piano, but sucked on organs. Okay, Shazzy. Maureen, tainted by association, but she'll be protected, but not on this morning. Yeah, she's going to be protected overall. It'll be like this thing. Don't worry. Don't worry, Holly. You know, we've got your back. You know, you'll be fine. That kind of thing. Diggers21. I'm thinking of Andy Peters don't get the James Bond role. He may be present. Yeah, people have said stuff about Andy Peters, right? That he's kind of like, people think there might be stories out there about him, right? He was one of the big guys that was always like on 90s TV, right? Live and Kicking, was it back in the day he presented? I think he was presenting it before I started watching it as a kid, but people have said stuff about Andy Peters, though, eh? Yeah, Maureen Vista on Boxing Day. There's a Vista bar or some shit, right? No problem, Joanne. No problem. Santoy, no chance Holly will be back presenting anything. You never know, though. You never know. I think she'll be okay. I think Holly will be all right. She'll still be doing some TV things. They'll find something for her to do. You know, even there'll be some BS TV show that she'll do. Yeah, see you, Cara. Take care. Daddy Alpha, someone needs to look at the Two-Faced Peter company. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, that whole company is now shut down, right? And I think coincidentally, the website was shut down. The website was shut down the same day that that Phil came out on this morning. That website shut down. So I believe the drama group's been shut down as well. Gay mafia in the business. That is true, Diggis. There is that goes on. It's in Hollywood. It's in the TV industry, no doubt. Cliff Cook, Penny Bunny has been looking into Two-Faced Theatre Company, and there's something coming up in it soon. It closed in 2020, right? Yeah. I've watched a couple of Penny Bunny's videos, Cliff. Yeah. She's got one on Simon Schofield that just came out recently. Was it today? I think about Simon Schofield. I'll have to check that. Yeah, Penny's done some pretty good work on this, you know, and there's a few good people that have done good work on it, right? You've got Callie P. You know, he's got almost 200,000 views now in his video about the open secret. Phillip Schofield's groomer. You know, Sean Atwood's done some good work as well. You got Ex-Army Pads. I mean, his videos have been getting 200,000, 300,000 views. So there's a lot of people who have been doing some good work and doing some good research in this. Mama Blair, yes, Penny is good. Yeah, maybe me and Penny could do a live stream one day on this stuff. Maybe that would be good. That would be interesting. Whether it's my channel, her channel, that would be a good chat. Check his wiki, Diggis. The 17 years started his career, the youngest to get a job. So he was like the youngest person to get a job with the BBC at that point, was he? I mean, a lot of people, young presenters, get work now, right? But was he the youngest at the time? That's so I don't know of anything. I mean, is it possible, like grooming, that maybe something happened to Phillip Schofield growing up? Was he maybe groomed? Could he have been, you know, abused, assaulted, you know, talking sexually here? I mean, you never know. It seems to be that pattern that can happen, that the abusee becomes the abuser, you know. But Shazzy, there's loads of misinformation out there in relation to Schofield. You're talking about, right? Phillip Schofield. I mean, I think there's some misinformation, yeah, no doubt, because I think certain things. I mean, I've spoke about that in my media coverage video. Some people say there is a super injunction. Other people are saying that there isn't one, though. And then there's the whole thing of, did Ruth and Eamon complain to the higher ups? Was it about the relationship, or was it about because Phil cut off Ruth when she was doing as the host when on Loose Women? So there is some misinformation out there, no doubt. Cliff Cook, senior scam Schofield. Phil offered to run him more cash. He said, no, I don't want to lie. That doesn't surprise me, Cliff. Yeah, I thought he would have paid him off. You still have to work, though, right? I mean, maybe he just spent a lot of the money as soon as he got it. Yeah, that was the question I had last night, Margaret, about Savile did help him out, right? He spoke fondly of Savile. Yeah, there was a video about that. I think I was watching it earlier. He did speak fondly of Savile. Seen different versions. Yeah, that's the thing, right? And it comes to a point, what exactly do you believe, right? Diggus testified he told Phil would make Gil guilty of perjury. Huh. So why has he not been accused of perjury then? Do you think that'll happen down the line, or is Phil being really protected by people high up? Are we talking like Freemasons here protecting him potentially, or then I suppose at this point the Freemasons were probably Phil was a Freemason. I doubt it would have come out to this that he would have been forced to reveal it, but Phil offered to pay lawyers for Matthew. The Matthew told the truth. Well, that's the thing, Mama. You can't keep lying to yourself, right? And he's gone through this now with 3 years now of his life. And COVID obviously wouldn't have helped him, right? Where I imagine he's had to he's deleted his social media, right? He's isolated himself. COVID hasn't obviously helped with pandemic, isolated himself with friends, family. So he's got to that point where he can't be telling lies anymore. And I mean, I don't know. Is the story going to come out eventually? I mean, I get the feeling that it might. It's maybe a 50-50. I mean, I don't know. Could it come out eventually? Could it be the big headline, Phillip Schofield groomed me? And then that's it, The game's up for Phil, It looks like Penny may have misinterpreted the situation, right? I'll have to check out that video, Cook, because maybe again she just has her take on it, her perspective. But I'll see what she's had to say about Phillip Schofield. Sorry, Simon, and maybe I'll maybe comment on that a later day. Some people are even saying about Simon Schofield that he was the unofficial husband of Phil, and that he changed his surname to Schofield. And it's weird. You even actually had a reporter today comment talking about this on GBUs, and her surname Schofield. So I don't know. These are these little games and jokes they like to play with us, but that's just a total coincidence. Her surname was Schofield, but Diggus, he was totally protected, obviously, and so repulsive behavior. ITV offered to do more gigs, right? And the thing is, it's not even these people are in on seediness, Diggus. They're in on it. It's just when certain people get high up in a company, people go out of their way to protect them, right? It's like if they have a reputation that's quite valuable, people will protect that. It's not a case of this person is a scumbag, they deserve to be exposed. What they did is wrong, unacceptable, they should be let go. It's, no, we've got to protect this person. We have to have their back. And that's just not the mindset I've had. I've never had that mindset with people. I think even if it was like one of my closest friends, if they've done something wrong and shitty, I'm going to call them out on it and say that's wrong. And there has to be, there has to be consequences. Cliff Cook, especially that Matthew's currently waiting to talk to the press for his side of the story. Yeah, I think that's what I saw the video that Katie Hopkins did about that. And she had a lot to drink. She was on she was drinking the Pinot Grigio, right? Yeah, but Katie Hopkins saying that basically it's either going to be he's going to reveal sell his story to the Sun or sell it to the Daily Mail. It's going to be one of those two. It really comes down to the highest bidder. Charlie McGreevy asked Phil if you could go. Okay. I'm not going to comment. Shazzy, it's a common surname in the area. What is that area like? Is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. I'm naive to this. I'm ignorant because I'm Scottish. Like people know Mackay is quite a common Scottish surname, right? I didn't know Schofield's like a common English surname. But sorry, Cliff Cook, is the Wootton interview with Eamon gone out yet? I'm not sure. Let me just save the GBUs. I'm looking at it on Twitter. Just checking. No, I just see something. Rebecca Jane, when I was booked for GBUs tonight, I was on with Kim Woodburn. I knew she would chuck a grenade or two about, but I didn't think she was going to call Holly a little bitch. Christ. Kim Woodburn doesn't give a fuck. Like, but I like that. I do like Kim Woodburn. I do find her. She is a character. I don't think Simon's surname has any connection to Phil. Just a coincidence. Yeah, I could buy that as a coincidence. I could buy that as a coincidence, Mama Bear. Schofield is a popular Lancashire surname, it seems. Oh, that's fair. I can buy that. I can buy that. I'm just looking to see if anything's come out about the Dan Wootton interview. Talking about protecting a major star. Are you specifically talking about? I'm just seeing the headline here. Is he meaning Phillip Schofield, or is he Holly Willoughby here? Who's got like getting thrown to the wolves here when he says others? You went to the Irish dancing school of Mackay, Maureen. You serious or are you winding me up? Astral, 30 years ago, kids wanted to be train drivers and nurses, but now they just want fame and do anything for it. Yeah, kids are obsessed with celebrity these days, are they? But I think it's now, I think someone said this on Twitter. It's like social media is the new mainstream media. We are the ones exposing the truth. And then there's some, very popular channels. I mean, you've got ex-army Paz with videos that get 300,000, 400,000 views. I mean, got to be around the ratings that Buddy This Morning gets, right? I mean, a lot of these guys are killing it, with what they're doing and exposing the truth. And it's not just total bullshit because people are fed up of the same old bullshit. Miriam Margolyes, Cliff. Yeah, she's a funny one though, is she? Did she not get caught out like being a total hypocrite? Like she's like one of these lefties about socialist lefties, but then she ended up private healthcare. She's a bit of a hypocrite. It'd be interesting though. I mean, she is a character though. That's one thing. All of these lefties, these woke kids these days, they're not authentic, Like that Miriam at least seems to be a bit of a character though. Diggus, I think the lad had a crush on Phil, who was his idol, and that worm took advantage. Who knows? I mean, maybe it was a family thing, Diggus. Maybe the family tried to use Phil as their of getting their Matthew a chance, an opportunity in show business. That can happen. I don't know though. I think it was probably more grooming on his part, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, Mizzy. Well, Mizzy is a good example of our culture going to shit. But you know something, Astral? I think like Mizzy could be somebody that they end up putting up on a pedestal. Like, I wouldn't surprise me if that Mizzy gets his own TV show of doing these silly ass pranks, like a jackass type or something over. He'll be a TV star. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, You were an Irish dancing champion 7 years in a row, Maureen. Impressive, nice. That's very good. I can't dance for shit, Maureen. Two left feet me. I always tell people I can't dance, but I can move, you know? I'm a bit of a mover, but I think Phil Cliff Cook is going to take a lot more at ITV both. Yeah, they will kill this morning in the end. At the end of the day, I think I'd like to think that the executives will get exposed that they did know, but I'm sure they'll find a way to protect their arses, though. Margaret Dixon Mizzy as an actor, his profile was on Backstage. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me if he's an actor. How is he able to get that top of the bus and the bus is moving and he's at the very top? Like, how could that honestly happen? Some of that stuff's got to be planned out right. He probably will get on a reality TV show. Just wait for it. Call of Duty Master, just get rid of Holly. They haven't got rid of her, right? But I don't know about the interview yet, if it's up yet. Is it just Eamonn Holmes? It's a total cover up. That's what he's saying. Yeah, because I was saying that this Peter Lloyd guy said something about he's talking about there was a photo of like in a kilt and Lorraine lifted up his kilt from behind and he said, "Here's Ben Shepherd getting sexually harassed in Lorraine. This is a subtle, insidious grooming in plain sight. They get away with it because there's a double standard. That's why I highlight the double standard. Wake up." So I think there's a lot of this seediness and sketchy shit going on in these shows. And Ben Shepherd doesn't look too pleased having his kilt lifted up. He does not look pleased at all. Kind of almost a grimace on his face. But yeah, Peter Lloyd does a lot of good work exposing this stuff, though. Shazzy, Simon Schoff swipes a beard. My belief after seeing dodgy texts some times ago. Oh, so this Simon Schofield's married, is he? I didn't know that. I think everyone working on that show at this time was happening. Not everyone. I don't know about everyone, Cliff, but a fair amount of people must have had an idea. He's just been arrested again for getting inside a train and messing with the driver. Yeah, he's just a real scumbag idiot, is he, this guy? Mizzy. I wouldn't put it past him to get his own TV show, though. I mean, if he has a bit of a brain about him, he would use this and leverage it into being a celebrity, right? He might have some offers, right, already. Yeah, I definitely look him up on Twitter, though. Peter Lloyd. He's trying to be exposing some of this stuff. Stuff maybe about female stars and like young teenage actors on Emmerdale, like bit of harassment going on that was going on there. This is what Peter Lloyd was saying, journalist. About to go in air, right? I just wonder what's my numbers on this Dan Wootton exposed video. But can you believe that? All the dark side of Phillip Schofield got monetized, but the Dan Wootton video is Dan telling the truth. That didn't get monetized. That wasn't allowed to get monetized. That's weird. Don't know if it's doing that well, but yeah, maybe about 100 views. But it can pick up. There's always a certain time that it just shoots up your view count on the shorts videos. Diggus, at least his career over, but I want him in prison with money gone like his brother. I mean, you guys, what do you think? Do you think it'll come to this, guys? Do you think it could end up that Phillip Schofield will do jail time? Could he be getting arrested very shortly? What do you guys think? Leave a comment. Yeah, yes or no. Margaret Dixon there highlighting Mizzy Mizzy antics at the same time as a U bill is going through Parliament to clamp down even more on what can be posted online. There's always a distraction, isn't there? There's always a distraction, Margaret. It happens all the time. I think there wasn't that thing in Russia, the 2018 World Cup. The same day, the very opening day of the World Cup, they put up the ages for retirement for women to like 5 years. Can't remember the exact ages, but this thing. They always need a distraction. They always need that to take the heat away. He was arrested twice. Second time he had to stay in jail for court today. They'll probably just give that Mizzy a slap on the wrist, though, eh? He's not going to do like proper jail time, like a few months in jail, though, innit? He really should, though. Dickhead. So it's going to be coming up any second now, is it? This Dan Wootton interview. Gigas losing career, no punishment. A groomer drift off somewhere like the glitter did. Sacrificial lambs. So there's a bigger agenda going on here. Astro. Yeah, I have to check out that Dan Wootton interview at some point. That Rebecca Jane, though. Rebecca Jane. Look up Rebecca Jane on Twitter. When I was booked for GBUs tonight, I was on with Ken Woodburn. I usually would chuck a grenade or two about. Christ. I want to say something to her. Where are we? Yeah. Interesting. I'm just saying to Rebecca Jane, I'm saying, interesting that you and your other colleagues said that there is a super injunction, but Dan Wootton said there wasn't. Hashtag I believe you. Because I definitely don't believe that Dan Wootton's telling the truth on this one. No. Shazzy, Phil is a dangerous man. He'll be very aware of other high profile characters, so he's in a very bad situation. So do you think it could be a case of Phil Shazzy getting his team to find dirt on other celebrities? That's maybe a plan that they would have, right? To alleviate the heat, some of the heat away from himself. Because I had notes and stuff. I mean, there was the whole thing, wasn't there? He had like a crisis management firm that he was paying what, £30,000 a month? Like Christ, like that's madness, the amount of money. But they've done a good job, haven't they? Suppressing all this information. I'm looking for my notes here. But yeah, this was the thing, right? Because he is at a PHA group, a crisis management firm that he pays £30,000 a month. He's been paying £30,000 a month, and they've done a good job, obviously, getting this story. This story has been suppressed now for almost 3.5 years. And this guy, though, his manager, was apparently involved. He might have been involved in a bit of blackmail himself back in the day. There was a big coming out story when it came to Michael Barrymore. So this is a PR manager. I'm sure he's a real fine man of upstanding character and unquestionable character. Andrew Bateman, what I find weird is that Piers Morgan has been so quiet on this. True. He has an opinion on everything and now nothing. He's been on about some TikTok prank. Why? Yeah, that's to get the focus away, isn't it? I mean, I haven't seen any video of him speaking about this on Talk TV, right? Initially, he said that he felt sorry for Phil not getting a proper send off. And now he's saying that all he said was when the story came out was blimey. That was all he said. Piers Morgan, guy who's got opinion on everything, right? Yeah, that's one thing. I'd troll his social media and say, why haven't you said anything on Schofield? Why haven't you said anything on him? Because yeah, he's I have no time for him. Adriu, I have no time for him. Yeah, like who gives a fuck about Mizzy, right? He's just some idiot, you know? Is he trying to be like a modern day version of Ferris Bueller? Is that what Mizzy's trying to be? Is he trying to be the black Ferris Bueller? Couldn't hold back the tide even £30,000 a month. But still, with the social media era, Diggus, to cover it up for like 3.5 years is still that's pretty. They did pretty well, you know. I think it's. I mean, it's a very cutthroat environment. Adriu, show business. You know, Piers Morgan will say about how people felt bad for him and said sorry about this when he left Good Morning Britain, but then they were the same people angling for us to replace him. I mean, it's a very cutthroat environment, you know. But the thing with Phil, though, I mean, it's obviously doesn't look good with Phil with all these accusations and it's all pretty much we all kind of know now that the guy he's had an affair with, it is the McGreevy kid. They blurred his photo out. He blurred his face on the Daily Mail, but you know it's McGreevy. We've seen the photos. They're all there online. Um, it's just obviously the whole grooming. Oh, he's a groomer. They obviously that stuff's not going to come out yet. If it looks like there is actually a super injunction. Dan Wootton claims there isn't, but I would say with 99.9% degree of certainty there is a super injunction though. Hi Elizabeth, thanks for joining. I don't live in a rabbit hole, I live in a black hole in Mars. Probably happier being in a black hole in Mars than down this rabbit hole. Piers as dodgy as they come. Look how he hacked the poor murder girl's phone. Yeah. That was the thing, right? He was still they justified the phone hacking, right? He made no real apology for celebrities getting their phone hacked, right? I mean, it happened to so many people, right? Cheryl Cole, it happened to Paul Gascoigne, Hugh Grant. He's still had that thing going on, isn't he, with the press taking them to court? Yeah. So is that Dan Wootton going on? Is it live right now? Does anybody know? Taking a look at that. Because I really do hope that Eamonn's one of the good guys. I hope he ain't full of shit and he's hiding something. Oh, wait, here we go. Here we go. So Eamonn Holmes discusses a younger male colleague. This just came out 2 minutes ago. Eamonn Holmes discusses a younger male colleague this morning at Phillip Schofield had an affair with. Thursday was playtime when he and Philip would hit the town. He never once talked to us about any relationship, but we knew he was in a bad way. So this is something I don't know. It sounds like to me he was in a bad way. It's like he's being careful. He's being careful with how he words things, right? He's on live right now. Right. Yeah, I just saw a clip of it on Twitter. OMG, horrific. What's been said, Shazzy? Fill me in. Let me know. But this idea that, well, Eamon must have known, right? I mean, sure, you could give Eamon a pass and say that, well, Phil and Ruth. Phil lied to him and his wife, but I mean, Eamon still had an idea, obviously, right? Thanks, Maureen. Thank you. It's just Dan Wootton. I don't trust Dan Wootton at all. That's the thing. Just seeing how to. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people hate Holly, right? Someone was saying Dolly needs to go. Well, it's Holly. It's not Dolly Parton. She enabled this situation. She's seen actively encouraging it. Dolly's about to lose her M&S work. Yeah, hopefully. Why don't I like Dan? I'll tell you why I don't like Dan City. Dan at first said that he was the one that went to ITV with a story about the affair. He refused to investigate it, and then he said that was the reason why he left November 2019. 3 months later, the day after Phil came out on This Morning, Dan's on his talk radio show, and then he praises Phil for coming out publicly. And he also tweeted something to Phil about, oh, it's such a brave decision and this, that, the other for what you did. If that was just a guy in general that was married, had an affair, you could say, okay, if you're really gay, there's that understanding there. I mean, you're still a cheat. So the whole coming out and getting a hug with Holly, I mean, that's just how can you buy into that shit? But Phil, Dan really covered for Phil, and he played his part in control and helped control the narrative about Phil, about what a proud moment this is that he came out as gay. This guy had been with his wife for 25, 26 years, and all of a sudden it's, oh, by the way, actually, I'm gay. And Dan Wootton has this quote here: more fool you if you don't want to brief me. Then you don't have an opportunity to try and shape the story in a way that works for you. And Dan played his part in helping shape the story in a way that was going to work for Phil, you know? So that's, hopefully that answers your question as to how I don't like Dan. Yeah, of course they do. He loves the gossip. It's what he thrives on. I mean, that's his job. That's his line of work. That's where he comes from. But he's a lot more dangerous and sinister, though. Trust me. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate it. Everyone's cool in the chat as well. Yeah, there's no one like having a dig at anybody or saying you're dumb for this or that. Everyone's cool. It's been good vibes tonight. Do all these UCasters they've said they've known for years and made complaints to ITV, but hey, didn't they contact the police? I'm from America. Not sure how things work in England, but if they you, it's just evidence. I would put it down to evidence, right, Edu? Would they have enough evidence? That's police can be very strict with that. Things like here, of all the concrete evidence that you need to go to the police and say this is what's going on in this situation here of Phil was grooming the kid. But the only thing is, when this relationship, the affair went on, the kid was of legal age. So it wasn't really something they could go to the police about. Showreel, I guess, yeah, I saw that, and that was the clip. Even Daily Mail reported on that clip today at the very end. Phil's saying, well, if I keep getting away with it, he's like, oh, Matthew asked him, so where do you think you'll be in 3 years' time? And he goes, well, if I keep getting away with it, I'll be a happy man. It's what they call the revelation method. He's letting you know right then and there, right? He's letting you know. Yeah, age of consent 16. Yeah, that's obviously it's different in America, legal age, but yeah. Philip Schofield tried to pick up Dan Wootton in a gay bar, Mama Bear. You don't like Dan, Jackie? Well, I like you. Well, he would have to go to the police, right, Kai? The kid would have to go to the police, right? Would the kid go to the police, or do you think he just wants to cash in and sell his story? Or sell his story first and then the police go investigate? Or people tell you who you are from the beginning? Yeah, there's that famous quote, isn't there? When people show you who, or people tell you who they are, who they are, believe them. Was it Mary Angelo or someone ever said that? Maury and Machiavellian grooming skills. Yeah, 100%. And Phil was very smart the way he did it, right? Because Phil was very much, you hear these stories all the time about Phil, oh, just a few days after someone's 18, he's following them on Twitter. Just a few days after before they turn 18, he's following Snapchat. So he's very smart how he does it. And he's even smarter because in his mind it was like, I wasn't when McGreevy kid was messaging him, he wasn't going to respond. He made it a point to follow this young kid on Twitter, a guy like Phillip Schofield that would have had hundreds of thousand followers, famous at that point, to a kid that no one knows who's probably only got 10, 15 followers. He made it a point to go out of his way to follow the kid on Twitter, but he never really interacted with him. That whole thing, got your big break in acting. I'll see you in a few weeks' time on This Morning. And then there's the photo, the on-set visit. They have the photo, him, Holly, and Phil. And again, it's all there, all documented, because they snitch on themselves in the end. Danny and best of a bad much. Hmm. You talent. It's interesting, Sadie, yeah, because GBU's Callie P. Maury knows Callie P. of the Divided Kingdom. He has his Phillip Schofield video almost got 200,000 views. He was at the sentencing of Timothy Schofield, and he got talking to one of the news reporters for GBU's, a Jeff Moody, and he had that connection there. And I think he's maybe seeing if he could maybe try and do some like work for GBU's, maybe end up appearing on the show, contributor type. I have some connections. I'm 4 connections on LinkedIn with GBU's presenters. So there's some connections I've got there. I could reach out to people, but I don't know. I think they'd be too afraid to have me on because I just straight up tell it like it is. Kai, you never know. It could have happened. You never know. Edu, political. Yeah, that's the one. Political Light, I think. Edu. That's where a lot of this stuff with my research, that was really probably the main website, to be honest with you. Working a pub. I still have that thing of, would he be working a pub really? Would have Phil not paid him off more? You wouldn't have to do that. Maybe he was ran out of money though. You know who someone is by the friends they keep? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's there's the saying, I think they say this in Portugal, you show me your friends, I'll show you who you are. They're straight up. It's very clear. Show me your friends, I'll show you who you are. Thanks, Sadie. I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. I'm enthusiastic about these things. I want to uncover the truth. I don't want to see people and snakes and fakes and scumbags get let off the hook. There's so many Instagram chats that have been screen saved these days by kids who come out the next few days. Yeah, everything's caught there. Like years back of people getting like, I'm sure there's stories about that of people in Hollywood and all sorts of people that get exposed chatting to people. There was an example of a wrestler called the Velveteen Dream, and he was a similar thing of like trying to groom this kid. And when it got exposed, this guy, the Velveteen Dream, that was it. Career over, done. He's out of the business now. He's still alive. He hasn't been in a criminal charges, but he's kind of been on the path to self-destruction. And he was going to be destined. He was like one of the guys that was like, they said was going to had the potential to be a top star, but then he got exposed. And then Sadie, Matt McGreevy started a GoFundMe and his move to London. Yeah, but that was before. That was before he started on This Morning, though, Sadie. That wasn't like just you say a few years, not like 2, 3 years ago. That was before he started the work as a runner, though, right? You're all heart, Maureen. You're all heart. They did pay him, but they put a gag order on him. Yeah. But that's the $1 million question. I mean, to me, is there a super injunction or is there not one? Yeah, it's only my second one. I'm going to be more active with doing these live streams, Mama Bear. But if you want to find out some good quality videos that I've done with the Schofield stuff, go back to the start, the dark side of Phillip Schofield, then maybe the Philip and Simon Schofield controversy, and then there's the one that I've done today. It was did Phillip Schofield make a dig at Eamonn Holmes? That's some good stuff right there. Production coordinator at Ramsey Studios. When was his LinkedIn last updated, Sarah? Was it like 2019, 20 to present or something? Or is there more recent ones? Or apparently he's working now, he's doing pub work, which is not admittedly really the best job of your 27, 28, but you gotta work, you gotta make a living, right? Yeah, the injunctions in place Astral. It's like the two women on GBUs saying that there's an injunction in place. I take their word over Dan Wootton's, any day of the week. Sarah showing June 22nd. What's showing June 22nd, Sarah? What's showing? So has more come out with this interview then? Eamonn Holmes says TV industry doesn't like people who toe the line. Abuse has got to be called out. Philip was absolutely right about toxicity. Did I say that word right? I'm terrible pronouncing it, but it's not with me, Dan Wootton, or anybody else. It's all with you. I do like a Scots accent. But where are you from, Mama Bear? Where are you from? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't bothered to check his LinkedIn, Sarah, but fingers have stopped working on an intermittent schedule. Mm-hmm. So this is the interview then. So what other more bombshells has it got? So I'm imagining this interview with Dan Wootton and Philip, what do you call it? Eamonn Holmes, sorry, would have been recorded, this morning, this afternoon time? I'm guessing this afternoon time, right? Or would it have been yesterday, the other day? I think life is tough for him. Do you even care, Eamonn? Or I know Dan doesn't care. South Africa, from Zimbabwe, South Africa, now England. Oh, nice. I've been a lot to England in my time, Mama Bear. Yorkshire was usually a place I'd go to. Yorkshire. Had a lot of holidays in Yorkshire, specifically York, Scarborough a lot of times. So I really like England. People are always friendly there, down to earth people. Yeah, I need to go back. Tommy Robinson's trending. What's he been up to, Tommy Robinson? His name's always cropping up in timelines. But yeah, Dan, Dan's a wrong end though. So, and if some of you want to give Dan the benefit of the doubt, that's fine. There's no, I'm not judging. But do some research though. Do some digging with Dan. See what you find though, and then you might have a different opinion on him. Eamonn Holmes says Philip Schofield is rude to everybody around him and questions why he's been protected. Nobody rates him. Well, I don't deny that. I'm sure that is true. Comes off a very unpleasant character. First boyfriend was from Yorkshire, moved to Zimbabwe. All right, right. And have you is Scarborough a place you've ever been to, Mama Bear? There's Scarborough. I used to go to my summer holidays. I would go to Scarborough a lot. It was all right. It was quite lively in the summertime. Nothing much happens in Scarborough outside the summer, though. It can be pretty dead. Edu, honestly, I've never ever seen Phil before all this broke. Live in the US. I watch all the British YouTube U shows. Then I looked up Savo and a guy named Michael Barrymore. Yeah. Some people have been telling me about Michael Barrymore. Maybe that's one I've got to do some digging on about his whole story. Oh, no, but Scarborough. Highly recommend Scarborough. Scarborough. Is that a good Yorkshire accent? Scarborough. Hillary Jane Whitby, yeah. Yeah, I've been to Whitby, Hillary. I've been to Filey. I was even at the place where they filmed Heartbeat, the set bit, and I was also close to where they filmed the Royal, like that bit, the main bit. I was around that bit as well. So that was nice little places. Dad is Welsh, Mama Bear. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Singing isn't the best, but I've only been to Wales. I've been to Wales before. Yeah, Llandudno, Prestatyn. That was another place in Wales. Rhyl. I was in Rhyl. Yeah, Wales was nice. I was there when I was 11. I really like Wales. So Eamonn Holmes again. Eamonn Holmes discusses ITV's investigation into Phillip Schofield's relationship with a younger male colleague. It's a delusion. It's an illusion. I can't say that's wrong. No, I know I've heard it before, Maureen. Yeah, I'm not. Sorry if I'm not that clued up on all Scottish songs, but I mean, Mull of Kintyre by Paul McCartney, is that a Scottish song? Because he's kind of singing Scottish and it's about Scotland. Mull of Kintyre, but he's from Liverpool. I don't know, would that be Scottish? No idea how Schofield managed to stay on for ITV so long. He comes across extremely unpleasant. A lot of that probably comes to do with connections, wouldn't you say? High places. People might point to Kevin Ligo and Martin Frizzell. Martin Frizzell, editor of This Morning, married to Fiona Phillips. A lot of people would point maybe to those connections. He's still on the show. Why he stays still on the show, but why he was able to stay on for that amount of time. Maybe that's the reason. Holly's a pain in the butt. Yeah, I think so, Mama Bear. I mean, no one can be that nice, right? Everybody's got to have a few cracks, right? You can never be that straight. And Holly, no, I don't really take to Holly. Sonia Polton's told a story about how she blanked makeup artists. She wouldn't say hello to them. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Holly at all. Okay, so that's coming up to 11 o'clock, guys. I think I'm going to just wrap this up slightly. If there's any other comments and any questions you've got, I could answer a couple. I'm still looking at this clips that are coming in on the Eamonn Holmes, Phillip Schofield. I want to give Eamonn the benefit of the doubt that he's a good guy. You know how I feel, and the jury's out on Dan Wootton, but hopefully Eamonn's going to really looks like he's starting to kind of tell it like it is and expose Phillip. Just clear. So Maureen, are you got any Scottish blood in you, Maureen? Or are you just no Scottish ancestry in you? Or got Irish? I've got Irish on my mum's side, my great granddad, and then I've got Welsh on my dad's side. So yeah, it looks like just looking up to see if there's anything. I'll see the whole interview in full though, the whole Dan Wootton, uh, Eamonn Holmes video. But yeah, I think so. I'll just call it a day now. I'm getting a little bit tired. I want to get back to eat. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you've been a lovely audience. I'm going to be more active. Going to be doing a few more live streams. Maybe one tomorrow, maybe one Wednesday. I'll see how I feel. But this is a good one. You guys have been great. Yeah, cheers, Mom Bear. So thanks, guys. See yous. Bye.